Hello everyone, I am Frank. We talked about it in the last episode, the location of the park, great designer, the disappearance of the first free black homeland, absurd pranks at the zoo, the transfer of ancient Egyptian relics over thousands of years, and the story of the cute, life-saving dog. Next, more wonderful comes Act 6, the artistic romance of George Fairy tales, theaters, musical clocks, and the 2020 horror plot. 1. The bronze fairy tale born of sadness. The story behind Margarita's monument, mid-20th century, when Central Park is politically divided, while struggling with the quagmire of the financial crisis, the founder of Dell Publishing in New York, publishing magnate George Delacorte, decided to use wealth for this. The icy city weaves the most gentle artistic dream. The reason why he is so generous, it's because of a heartbreaking parting. In 1956, they stood with him through thick and thin, building a publishing empire together. Beloved wife Margarita died due to ineffective medical treatment. Great grief led the publishing mogul to decide, in the middle of Manhattan, build a permanent living monument to his deceased wife. He remembered his wife by the greenhouse sink. Favorite books to read to children: Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. George invested heavily, specially commissioned the world-renowned Hispanic at the time, sculptor José de Creft to create. May 7, 1959. This large bronze group sculpture is 3.35 meters high. Inaugurated to cheers. Engraved on the base is an affectionate inscription: Margarita de la Corte Memorial. She loved all her children deeply. Master José is in the texture of this bronze, hidden in a very secret private emotion. Alice's innocent, gentle face. It's not imaginary. But José, with his own daughter, Donna Maria's face is, the prototype is carefully crafted. And that wacky, polite Mad Hatter, its facial features and facial contours. It's actually the donor, George Delacorte himself. Realistic satirical portrait. Then Delacorte made what was considered unconventional at the time. This statue is undefended. No isolation. Make it clear that children are welcome to climb up and play. George once said, "I love it on Sunday mornings. Watch the kids climb up and down here. That would bring me infinite joy." Over the past few decades, thousands of little hands and feet, forcefully turning the shoulders of bronze Alice and the ears of a rabbit, rubbing as dazzling as gold. 2. The musical clock of public welfare drama and dancing. Delacorte's artistic romance. It doesn't stop at fairy tales. In 1961, when he learned that the master of drama, Joseph Papp, it's being built on the lawn for civilians. When Shakespeare is performed on a humble plank, he wrote another huge check. June 18, 1962. Ancient Roman style with 1,800 seats, amphitheater. The official opening of the Delacorte Theater, and established the iron law that has been passed down to this day. All tickets are completely free, completely broke down the class barriers of high art. Then, on June 24, 1965, he took his trip to Europe again. The fascinated medieval machine brought to New York. The Delacorte musical clock, enabled above the red wall arch of the zoo. Every hour and half hour, the two bronze monkeys at the top hold the hammer aloft. Ring the bronze bell hard. Immediately after, in the crisp ringing of the bell, a whole bronze cast. Polar and Jungle Symphony Orchestra. Start on the conveyor belt, dancing around the lighthouse in a magical spin. These 6 bronze beasts come to life, each holding a musical instrument, showing them to the world for more than half a century. The never-ending waltz. Penguins are beating the drum hard. The brown bear is beating happily on the tambourine. Hippopotamus playing the violin affectionately. Elephants are deftly playing the accordion. The goat played his horn with his head held high. And one holding a cub, kangaroo playing French horn. Whether it was 1965, crowds recorded on the front page of the newspaper, or is it a digital revolution? All 6 animals are present, In the hustle and bustle of the steel forest, it has been ringing for more than half a century, with eternal innocence, a gentle reminder to New Yorkers in a hurry. Stop to enjoy the peace and beauty of this fleeting moment. 3. Attempted terrorist plot in 2020. Hollow bomb tearing apart fairy tales. However, this is the warmth that embodies love and innocence. In April 2020, more than 60 years later, but it was almost reduced to a dehumanizing. Victims of horrific disasters. At that time, the world is locked down by the novel coronavirus epidemic. New York has issued a historic lockdown order. Around the originally crowded statue of Alice, a dead silence. Empty. This once-in-a-century desolation became the best cover for Crazy since April 9th to April 11th, 2020. Kevin Fallon. At the age of 30, he lived on the Upper West Side of New York. Is a very sociopathic schizophrenic maniac. April 9th, Fallon suddenly appealed to his many friends and family. A series of mass posts. Creepy, threatening text messages. According to the court's official indictment records released, Fallon screamed frantically in the text message, "I'm going to use pipe bombs. Alice in Central Park. Mad Hatter and their Tea Party. All the statues. I'm going to destroy it all." April 11th morning. Fallon's behavior intensified. He suddenly appeared on social media, sent an extremely realistic photos of homemade improvised explosive devices. Above is a tubular metal object tied to an electronic watch. Multiple rifle bullets are scattered around, and accompanied by a naked death ultimatum. Remember to look both sides before crossing the road. This is going to hurt. None of you are safe. I am lethal. In addition to blowing up the Alice statue, he also threatened to shoot his biological father, ex-girlfriend, and all the innocent passers-by along the way. This terrorist attack is a very real threat. Instantly alerted the New York City Police Department, Intelligence Bureau, Joint Regional Fugitive Task Force with federal marshals. Multiple SWAT and bomb squad are on call. On the afternoon of April 11th, yes, Fallon's apartment on the Upper West Side launched a carpet raid. The results of the on-site search let the police officers who are used to crime take a deep breath. SWAT. 3 pieces were seized on the spot and have been assembled. Pipe bomb, large quantities of rifle ammunition, and multiple packs tied together with black industrial tape. Extremely lethal military bayonet. Fortunately, miniature x-rays by explosion-proof experts on site. Emergency dismantling. The inside of these bombs was eventually confirmed to be the empty shell of the core gunpowder has not been filled yet. A few hours later, fully armed SWAT arrive in Manhattan, a hotel in the theater district, break in to crush the whole of New York. The fanatic of a child's childhood dreams. Press the uniform upside down on the spot. Final processing result. Fallon was formally charged in a New York court. Creating a terrorist threat, second-degree crime of illegal possession of weapons, and multiple felonies such as aggravated harassment. Due to his history of severe mental illness, he was subsequently spared the death penalty by a court ruling, or ordinary imprisonment, but it must be in a high-security psychiatric hospital, undergo a mandatory indefinite psychological evaluation, and psychotherapy. This mad conspiracy that failed, in a matter of life and death with only a few hours left to implement, quickly strangled in the cradle by the police. It is also because of this thrilling interception. Let this one carry George, affectionate with Margarita Century. The Bronze Alice. Avoid the doom of breaking bones. To be in the shade of Manhattan. Continue to safeguard generation after generation. Children's laughter. Act 7. Ruins, crime, and rebirth. Mid-20th century. The decadence of Central Park. 1. Reduced to hell, the Blade Park of Fear. If we go back in time to the mid-20th century, you will see the darkest Central Park in history. The most shameful history. It started in the 1960s, with New York City mired in a severe financial crisis and manufacturing recession. Central Park is complete, degenerated into a nightmare for the whole city. By 1970, due to the city's funding was completely cut off. The park's maintenance staff numbered several hundred, dramatically reduced to a few dozen people. The lawn turned into a quagmire. The sheep lawn is littered with rubbish. The Bethesda fountain was blocked by pipes, and dry and turned black. Wall of building, sprayed with graffiti from various gangs. In media reports at the time, this is not called Central Park. It's called Blade Park. The highest crime rate in the United States, the most dangerous public black hole. Robbery, rape. The drug trade is banned in broad daylight. At that time, the New York Police Department has issued a public warning to the public. Do not enter Central Park after 4 p.m. Otherwise, you will be responsible for the consequences. Olmsted and Vox advocated the holy land of democracy where everyone is equal. In the ruthlessness of capital and the bankruptcy of cities, reduced to an uncompromising hell on earth. 2. Rebirth. The Central Park Conservancy's 1980 rescue operation. Until 1980, ordinary citizens of New York, they can no longer bear the decline of my home. A large number of enthusiastic citizens, environmentalists, and philanthropists joined forces to form Central Park Conservancy. Created the history of the United States, the most successful public-private partnership management precedent. They raised hundreds of millions of dollars. It took 10 years to conduct a game called a root and branch restoration. They removed 20 years of graffiti. Removed 2,000 tons of garbage. The 5 lakes were dredged. Let the dry fountain gush again. By the end of 1980, Olmsted and Vox Green Lawn concept. Finally, resurrected from the ashes of decades of crime. Returned to New Yorkers, showing the way it should be. 1987, during the renovation of Central Park. After many delays, real estate developer Donald Trump. It's finally done. Renovation work on the Wallman skating rink. Act 8. Gunshots on a winter night, the assassination of John Lennon. History is sometimes suffocatingly cruel. December 8, 1980. Late night. In front of the gate of the Dakota Apartments on the west side of Central Park, and something happened that shocked the world. According to the official case records of the New York City Police Department, 10:51 p.m. John Lennon and his wife Yoko Ono have just finished recording. Step into the apartment arch. Mark David Chapman in the shadows. 5 shots were fired 6 meters behind Lennon. 4 shots hit Lennon in the back and shoulder. Lennon staggered into the lobby of the building, shouting, "I'm shot," then collapsed in a pool of blood. And Chapman sat so calmly by the side of the road. Read the novel, The Catcher in the Rye. At 10:55, the patrol car sounded its siren all the way, retrograde to take Lennon to the hospital. At exactly 11 o'clock, the surgeons at Roosevelt Hospital even cut open the chest. Manually pressed Lennon's heart with both hands. But it's also useless. Failed to save this great life. The next day, December 9, 1980, the front page of the New York Daily News was typed. John Lennon slain here. The New York Times wrote in depth on its front page. For the 1960s, for those who have grown up, it feels like a part of their own youth dying. The genius who called for peace and love all his life fell outside the gates of his favorite park, leaving behind a silent world. John Lennon and Yoko Ono since 1973 lives on the west side of Central Park in New York. The Dakota, this historic apartment building, the window faces Central Park. Lennon was very fond of Central Park during his lifetime. He often walks in the park with Yoko, or sitting on the grass for inspiration. Later, he strolled along, pushing his son's stroller. Central Park became the rock star in New York. In the hustle and bustle of the city, the most cherished spiritual sanctuary. After he was assassinated, more than 100,000 grieving fans, spontaneous influx into the Dakota apartment, directly opposite Central Park Meadow. Light the candles and sing in unison. Imagine, imagine. The scene became the most shocking in New York's history. One of the most heartbreaking scenes. In memory of Lennon, Yoko Ono later contributed $1 million. United New York City Parks Department, directly opposite the Dakota Apartments. Lennon was alive. His favorite part of Central Park was walking. Replat, transformed into a 2.5-acre landscaped memorial. Strawberry Fields. Named after a Beatles classic. Strawberry Fields, forever. Imagine mosaic, the core of Strawberry Fields. It is a gift from Italian Neapolitan craftsmen. Round pattern made of black and white mosaic floor tiles. Lennon is written in the center, the greatest single name imagine. Holy Land of Peace. Yoko Ono and representatives from countries around the world donated plants from around the world, made this place into an international peace park. Until today, every day, fans from all over the world come here, lay down flowers on mosaic discs, strawberry or guitar flake, humming his song. In the decades since Lennon's death, Yoko Ono has never moved. She still lives in the Dakota, in that penthouse room in the apartment. Every time Lennon's death day and the birthday, Yoko would stand in front of the apartment window, staring silently across the road, the one in Central Park where fans gather. The strawberry field full of candlelight. Central Park. Not only did they document their sweetest love life, it also carried the watch of her life. The curious closed loop of history. Calvert Vaux defied all opinion in 1850. Sticking to commercial buildings. Occupy every inch of Central Park. And a century later, it is precisely because of this well-preserved pure land that John Lennon found a home in New York. And eventually the world's pacifist. There is a strawberry field where they can place their grief. In 2007, Yoko Ono commemorated John Lennon on the island of Viðey, off the coast of Reykjavik in Iceland, built the Imagining Peace Tower. It just looks like a very low-key white marble pedestal like a wishing well. But at night, 15 in the base are equipped with prisms, and mirrored super searchlight will light up at the same time. Together, they form a huge, vertically upward laser beam. On a clear night, this laser needle can shoot directly into the sky of 4 kilometers through the clouds. As long as you are on the coast of downtown Reykjavik, look up and you can clearly see this stunning blue light that illuminates the night sky. Now this light wasn't on all the time. It's light time. It has a strong sense of ritual and time constraints. Life and Death Watch. October 9th every year. John Lennon's birthday at 8 p.m. This light will be lit on time until December 8th, the anniversary of Lennon's assassination at midnight. Will go out. Special holidays. In addition, it will only be on the winter solstice to New Year's Day, spring equinox. In memory of Lennon and Yoko in 19... Certain honeymoons and peace in bed movements. Node, with peaceful connotations. Briefly light up for a few days. The most touching thing about this building is that, beneath the base of that 10-meter wide wishing well, buried deep inside are more than 1 million peace wish. These wishes have been cherished for decades. Fans around the world. And Yoko Ono collected through the Wishing Tree Project. Different skin colors around the world. People's expectations for love and peace in different languages. Now sealed in the dirt of Iceland. Turned into the beam that rushes into the universe every day. Intense light. Around the marble pedestal. In 24 languages. Deeply engraved with the words Lennon spent his life. Lyrics to the cry. Imagine peace. Imagine peace. Act 9. Courts, Prejudice, and Justice. The Central Park 5, The Case of Injustice. That was 1989. Cocaine was rampant and swept through New York. The poverty rate soared to 25%. Murders rose to 1,896 per year. A total of 3,254 rapes were reported in the 5 boroughs. But only one case drew sustained attention across the city, and finally exposed its bias in the criminal justice system and media establishment. On the night of April 19th, 28-year-old white investment banker Tricia Mealy, in the rundown area north of Central Park, attacked while jogging. She was hit by a stone, puckered, bound, and raped. She was dumped in the wilderness, was found hours later. By then, she had lost consciousness, with hypothermia and severe brain damage. That night, more than 30 teenagers entering Central Park from East Harlem. Some of them started to act recklessly, throwing rocks at cars, assaulting and robbing passersby. After the incident, police quickly arrested people, including 14-year-old Salam, Raymond Santana, and Kevin Richardson. Antron McCrae, 15, and 6 others, including 16-year-old Corey Wise, among them the 5 teenagers. For African Americans and a Latino, later known as the Central Park 5. After more than 7 hours of police under unmonitored surprise review, 4 boys signed a confession. The city is boiling. This case, not only does it reflect the sharp rise in violent crime in New York, the fear it brings, it also reflects people's concerns about race in New York. At the same time, a 28-year-old black woman from Brooklyn was raped. After the incident, 2 men threw her from the roof of a 4-story building. It caused serious injury, but it didn't get a lot of media attention. Just 2 weeks after the Central Park attack, after the boys did not stand trial, Neely was still in a coma. Without appearing in court, Donald Trump intervened. Trump's office is located on 5th Avenue, overlooking the southern border of the park. He reportedly spent $85,000. In the New York Times, including for New York City newspapers, place an ad titled, "Bring Back the Death Penalty, Bring Back Our Police." Trump wrote above his signature, "I hate these robbers and murderers. They deserve to be punished. If they commit murder, they should be executed. They have to be negative. Only in this way. To compel them to commit crimes or commit acts of violence. Think twice before." At the trial, the following year, all 5 boys recanted their confessions and pleaded not guilty. For previous co-words, they said, after a police roundup and a long interrogation, forced confessions to crimes such as rape, the prosecution's accusation almost entirely dependent on them shortly after the crime. Confession made. It turns out, this is crucial. There is no DNA evidence linking them to the crime. DNA from the scene. And miraculously recovered. Neely, who testified in court, but has no memory of any details of the attack. In court, all 12 members of the jury all found 5 boys guilty. The court imposed the maximum sentence. Sentences of 5 to 10 years and 5 to 15 years, respectively. Wise has been held in the infamous Rikers Island jail because he was sentenced as an adult. Later, it became attorney for the defendants in the Central Park 5 case. New York veteran civil rights lawyer Michael Warren is convinced Trump ads played a role in securing convictions. Warren said his preconceived hints influenced the position of many residents. At the same time, he's taking advantage of people's natural sympathy for the weak, psychology, although the jurors claimed they could do it. Impartiality, but some of them or their families. It will definitely be advertised. The impact of inflammatory speech. In 2002, he was convicted of serial rape and murder. Matias Reyes was sentenced to life imprisonment. While serving time in prison, the second time I met someone who was wronged that year, one of the members of the group of 5, Wise. Guilt. He confessed to the police. He was 1989. The only real culprit in the Central Park jogger case. DNA retested. It also confirmed that the semen on Neely's body, it was his on Christmas Eve of the same year. The New York State Supreme Court its ruling, the Central Park 5 conviction of all members. But it didn't change these 5 young people. A fait accompli whose fate has been completely rewritten. After 14 years of legal action, the Central Park 5 in 2014 reached a settlement with the New York City government, received $41 million in compensation. Subsequently, at the time of the crime, the teenagers entered the entrance and exit of the park. It's also called Gate of the Exonerated. This is since 1862. Central Park for over 160 years. The only newly added, officially named Dork. It's not just a wake-up call. Remember that. The Justice Shady of 5 juveniles. It is also to inform all Americans who have encountered systemic miscarriage of justice. Innocents who have been wrongly imprisoned and regained their innocence. With the deepest respect. Epilogue, looking back at time beyond the hustle and bustle. After nearly 200 years of blood, tears, miracles, public opinion lies. After the fall of the ruins and the restoration of justice, Central Park, still quietly accepting every tourist. Finally, let's refocus on this area. The vast oasis. People don't forget. The deed check that was forcibly torn down in Seneca Village. Will not forget. Homestead and box in the political spoils. 3 in, 3 out, leave angrily. Won't forget to use the Gannon shells. Limit engineering of moving obelisk. Will not forget 127.5 hours of snow. Miracle of life. Will not forget the generous donation of George Delacorte. And the laughter of the children. Will not forget the cold timeline on the Lennon case report. Never forget the Central Park 5. Innocents recaptured under the gate of the exonerated. The devastation of the mid-20th century failed to destroy it. The fanaticism and hustle and bustle of the 21st century will also eventually be gone with the wind. Central Park is not just Manhattan's backyard. It is made of masonry, silk tears, a historical masterpiece bound with glory. When you walk again, when the tree line shakes, might as well stop. Listen carefully, because every rock here, every page of a dusty file, they are all telling you that they belong to this city. The truest legend. Okay, that's it for today. See you next time.